We had rain all last night, and this isn't even the worst ditch. This is my ditch, but when I was growing up, this thing never filled. I swear it never filled. And since the reditching project, it fills all the time. Of course, they haven't replaced the pipes. The one pipe over there by the corner and the pipe at my driveway, so I don't know how they expect it to work, but yeah, the reditching project. 1930s technology in 2010. Ridiculous. The heck of it is that it's going to rain all tonight, too. Truly. I think we need a bigger boat, to be perfectly honest. I think it's such a success, don't you, the reditching project? Oh my gosh. This yard over here, that's someone's yard. In all the years I've lived here, I never remember this yard of this neighbor flooding this badly. Yeah, I never remember that flooding that badly. And here we go, a block away from me, and here we go with this, all of this. Ridiculous, totally ridiculous amounts of flooding. And it's going to rain some more. See, that's what gets me. You know, I found a rubber dinghy for, what was it, $200? Like I can afford $200 on a rubber dinghy. However, if it's this bad now and it's going to rain through the day and all night tonight, we're going to need a bigger boat. And I don't even have a boat, so I'm going to need a boat. And I'm really not at, well, those blocks are some of the lowest points in West Markham. My house isn't that low because when they built mine, they were thinking, and they built it up so it'd be on a hill that drained toward the road. It's kind of what you do when you build houses. Unfortunately, not some of these. They're just built flat. The yards are flat. Some yards are elevated. That one is. Some are not. That one isn't. See, the heck of it is, now I'm going to start going up our hill in Markham. There is a hill. My sister lives up on the hill, and the heck of it is, on the top of the hill, it floods too. It doesn't move down, as far as I've found yet, but it floods up there and stays up there, but not in her area. She's even a little higher than that. And I told her, I said, you know, if it gets bad enough, and you see me paddling toward your house, you'll know things are bad in my area. I'd rather have a canoe, but I might have to get the dinghy just in case. I mean, you see, people who don't believe in global warming or global climate change, let's call it climate change because that's what it really is. Now, you have to look at weather in terms of hundreds of years. And there are patterns with those, within those hundreds of years. There's a great video on TED Talks that I'll put a link to. But you have to think of weather in not this year was hot, that year, the next year is cold, oh, it's the Ice Age. No. It's hundreds of years, thousands of years. Okay? I understand that. I understand that you can have periodic fluctuations in weather. I'm going to pull back here because the people in front of me were pooping along. No, I suppose this isn't the right time for type A driving, but climate change is global. It's a global disruption of patterns. There are cities around Chicagoland now that have flooded twice, and they have not flooded in 100 years, which means they were not listed on the 100-year floodplain maps. So of course they didn't have flood insurance. You only buy flood insurance if you're in a floodplain. That's been the rule. But with climate change, whether it's a 300-year pattern or a 100-year pattern or a 500-year pattern, and it eventually rights itself because either we're killed off or we get a clue. Do you see that happen? I don't see that happen, but there's going to be more devastation in new places that didn't have the same kind of devastation before. More powerful hurricanes, tornadoes, more water being dropped where it hasn't dropped before in that amount. I think we're seeing it. Yeah, I grew up in that house, and I don't think I remember that ditch ever filling up like that. And now it's normal with the heavy rain, every heavy rain. I'm lucky, mine drains really well. I don't know why mine does, because my neighbor across the street, hers doesn't. Theirs doesn't drain. Mine can be drained all the way down where there's no water in my ditch, but they've still got some. Of course, if they fixed the pipe, I'd have more, but they'd have less, and it would be more spread out. But they haven't fixed the pipe. The pipe is basically crushed underneath the road. We're talking 1930s. It's time for a replacement. Okay. 70 years, I think it did its job. And the heck of it is, other pipes in the same juxtaposition to intersections, they've been replaced all around me, but not ours, on my corner. So I guess I'm going to have to go to the city council meeting and complain, because this is ridiculous. First of all, just because our part of the city was built in the 30s shouldn't mean that we retain 1930s technology, which means ditches. There is such a thing as sewers, drainage, and sidewalks. These things exist in time and space. They're on the other side of Kedzie. See, the other side of Kedzie in my town has all those things. Drainage, sewers, sidewalks. That's 1950s, 60s technology, okay? So, on my side of town, we're dealing with, what, 70-year-old technology for water management, and I don't see there being any plans to bring the west side of my city up to code, up to standard. I'm trying to think of another suburb around here that has ditches, and I'm hard-pressed to think of one. I really am. I don't know of any, unless it's actual farm country. Now, farm country, that's different. There's a farm. Okay, and they may have a drainage ditch. They wouldn't have sewers, sidewalks, drainage. They'd have a drainage ditch. That's fine. But we're not farm country. This is a suburb. It's houses, very little rental property. It's mostly ownership. Home ownership of working people. That's what we're dealing with here, and I guess that's why we aren't getting much play. Maybe. But this is ridiculous. I'm thinking of the mosquitoes and the diseases they harbor, like encephalitis. Some kid's going to die of encephalitis, and they're going to sue the city, and then, again, we'll be stuck with this reactive stance of a lawsuit after the fact, instead of being proactive and fixing it. I don't know. interesting to see what happens with today's rain and tonight's rain. As they say, it's going to rain just like it did last night, all tonight. Yes. I have an itchy nose. It's right here. I'm not picking my nose, I'm itching the top of my nose. Scratching, sorry. So, that's my watery tale for today. And I think I'll go ahead and post another video I did. I tried to do a video for a day, life in a day, and I didn't like how it turned out, so I didn't post it and I didn't submit it. I can post it, but I'm just not going to submit it. It's too late. But it was okay, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to say. It was only partially what I wanted to say. So, okay. I'll let you know how the watery tale proceeds. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.